Okay, cool. We are back. I have a really sore stomach today, so and I'm very tired, but I've had some energy drink. Um, and I'm hoping that my stomach's gonna calm down soon. Uh, but yeah, we're gonna persevere, and we're going into the second part of the first trial. In this case, we just went to recess, and we're going into the second part, so we're going to see what transpires. I think Adrian is the one that's going to be on the stand next. I think that's where we're at. So we'll carry on. Now, you'll know, just an interesting fact. You know how I always save in like multiple save slots? You know how I've got like 3 saves here and I always save it into multiple? That's because, for reasons like this, because I booted up the ROM today, went in here, went to click load save state, and clicked save state instead, and saved the game at the home screen into the save one slot, and that is why I have multiple save slots, because I'm an idiot, and that would have been a lot of game to have to replay to get back to this point. So I make sure I have multiple save slots to prevent me from doing something like that. But I managed to load one of the other saves, so we're up to date. Let's go. Alrighty then, chill the fuck out. And now it's loud again. What is... I don't know why it's different every single time. Like, every time I put in the headphones, it seems to be a different sound level, even though I haven't changed the volume at all. It's... Oh, the volume actually is higher. Maybe I did change it. Oh, well, maybe we'll just lower it again. Oh, that is true. I was actually checking audio and stuff yesterday, and I was messing about with it. Never mind, that is me. That is on me. We'll just put that back down again. Right, March 22nd, 2:14 PM, District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian. No way. Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. I just keep thinking like Archie Andrews. I'm like, oh no, not Archie Andrews. Anything but that. She's your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your Hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she is the real killer. She's the one who murdered Juan Corrida. I feel like that's not the case because we still have 2 investigations and 2 trials left to go, as well as this trial. It seems like it's wrapping up just a bit too early for that to be the case. I feel like we're not on the right track. She was the one who murdered Juan Corrida. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Get me your verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix. You think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impacts for her strength and will to live. You know, if this game was not Japanese, these two would be in love, but unfortunately because it's Japanese, it's just like, oh, she was her mentor, she just really looked up to her. Like, no, clearly this class is in love with Celeste. 100% this is gay. But nothing's ever allowed to be gay in Japan unless they explicitly want it to be. It's weird because so much anime and stuff is so gay, and yet they don't like the gays. It's weird. Weird that. And then you get Yuri on Ice, which is just a very, very bizarre little LGBT show right in the middle of everything else. What was that one with the gay sisters? Like, they were like stepsisters, but they were like dating. It was called like, it was named after a fruit. It was like called like lemon or mango or something. What was that? That was a weird... I never watched it, but that was a fucking weird little show. Anyway, Miss Andrews depended on Miss Tampax for her strength and will to live. But then Miss Tampax suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. Does anybody else see that that's Mia? Or, like, do they just not care that, like, this dead girl is standing in the middle of the... Like, because everybody here knows who Mia is, because she was an attorney. Is no one fazed by the fact that Mia's just, like, standing in the middle of the hall? Or have they all just sort of accepted now that this is the kind of weird shit that goes on around Phoenix Wright? And that's why I think Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Mr. Andrews. Mr. Andrews? Miss Andrews' codependency with regards to Miss Tampax. I'm refusing now to call her Tampax. Her name is Tampax. Her name is Celeste Tampax. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. What is Edgeworth up to? That's what I want to know. I feel like he's got an agenda, but I can't tell what his agenda is. I don't know what he's trying to do here. Apart from prosecute, but I think it's more than that. It feels like there's something else going on, but I don't know what he's up to. March 22nd, 225, District Court, Quarter number 3. Because they can see Mia, right? Because didn't Francisca make some kind of joke in, like, the last case, or the case before? Something about, like, channeling Mia, and she's like, she made a joke about, like, or like a comment about about Mia being in the box. Why is no one bothered by this? Although everybody here is thick as mince, because, I mean, they interview parrots and shit, like, everyone here is a few slices short of a loaf. Anyway, the court will now reconvene. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. Edgeworth? Edgeworth. The prosecution calls a witness subpoenaed by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, Miss Archie Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Corrida's room. Louisa Hawkeye herself. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ongard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honour, I have one request. Yes, sure, what is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing. I would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry existed between Matt and Juan, but this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. I do not know what that means, but I didn't kill him. No one has accused you of that. I've got a feeling someone will soon. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. Who exactly found the body? When I found the body. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Look, I don't think she's responsible. Like, you poured yourself a glass of juice? I fully don't think she's responsible for this, because I think that's way too easy at this point. But I don't think my response to seeing my boyfriend's dead body would be, I'm gonna pour myself some tomato juice. And then not drink it. Because it wasn't drunk, she just sat it on the side. It's like, oh no, a dead body. I better pour myself a drink and then sit it here and leave. No, that's a lot of fucking nonsense. What are you up to, Adrian? Yes, sadly I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honour. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer. I was really hoping she was going to say cucumber. And she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pace. Disrupt her pace? She's the type of woman who's easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offence is the instant that this trial is over. Understand? No, to be quite honest, Mia, I don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. Okay, please let me... can I press her? I assume I can press her. Time for the show to start, I might get mad from the room. And what was Mr. On Guard doing at the time? He should have been sleeping. He was taking a nap, yes. Okay, that's consistent. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. On Guard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you... Right, I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. On Guard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Right. Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. You should know they were in school together. After that, I went to Juan's room. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture. Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Yeah, let's press further. Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim. Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time. Sorry, I'm just swapping my headphones. Oh god, that made it worse. Man alive, I'm just trying to get it to not be so loud. I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. Maybe continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? And there was his dead body. I was in shock. What is opening in the background? Fuck off. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock, and you can't seriously expect that a young goosey like her would not be shocked. Edgeworth, why are you being weird? Yeah, it surprised her that way. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice? Juice? Uncle Juice? You know your Uncle Juice is a good man. Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down, without drinking it. Again, the most pointless thing ever. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Yeah, press further. Woman's talking some shit. Miss Andrews! I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down in the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. What? flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime scene photo? This one? The mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. That's why the guitar case was wet, because the water from the vase fell on it. Alright, that scuppers my idea about someone washing fingerprints off the case. But why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry, I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. That's not what you do. How would that help? It's a crime scene. Everything has to be accounted for. Why would you just assume that, like, oh, it was already messy, so, like, I just thought everyone would, like, overlook... Like, no, that's obviously a vital piece of evidence, you dafty. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. Even Edgeworth's like, fuck this bitch. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over when it fell onto the guitar case. What kind of flower vase was it? It was a glass vase, and it was fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take Juan's pulse, so I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser, and that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase. That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself. She's a woman in total control of herself. That's what she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between the perception and reality. It doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now. I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. The only way to make her is to keep on the offensive and not let up. The only way you're going to catch her is with some very strong, decisive evidence. If I have to find something... Oh, I have to find something. I just have to, for Maya's sake. I mean, yeah, I already know that there's 2 more days of investigation and 2 more days of trial, so, like, that's not boding well for Maya, because we're not going to be able to pull this off in this one session. It's not going to happen. Okay, so I've already pressed on every statement, so I'm going to need to find some evidence now. Let's get Matt from his room. Went to Juan's room. His dead body. What I saw was the same as the crime scene photo. Phillips was about to faint pour himself a glass of juice. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over it, where it fell onto the guitar case. What have I got here? Because these are the things. There's some water, but only on top of the lid. Oh! I hope this works. My thinking is that in the photo, and like she said when we pressed her, the guitar case was open. But the guitar case must have been shut if when the vase fell and the water went on the lid, it must have been closed, otherwise the water would have went in the case, not on it. So, I'm going to present this. Yes. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what's so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet in the inside, not the outside. Exactly, it was open in the crime scene photo. That's very true. Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about the guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. And what's wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, there would have been bits in... Yeah, the glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. So it was closed at the time. So it probably was closed when she knocked over the flower vase, but it was opened after. And we don't know why. What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Ugh. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say that she didn't touch the guitar case. But But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be, however, an empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case. It seems that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? I mean, yeah, obviously we do. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along, for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honour. I mean, obviously we're going to ask her to testify about the guitar case. And just be like, oh, just let her be, and then just get absolutely nowhere. The case will just come to a close. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Great testimony, really learned a lot there, that was helpful. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic. A convenient escape for a weak man. Okay, I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see. Are you sure you're the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. The codependency is coming through, huh? Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Corrida's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. As the witnesses said multiple times when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic, yeah, this is the worst testimony ever. She's not making any sense. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? How about also professionalism? The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Again, really useful. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix. We can't afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance. Yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found. Okay, I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened it after the vase was knocked over. It's not a big deal though, the case was empty. As for why I opened it, even I don't know. I don't know. Where's the crime scene photo? No, not that. Oh my god, right, okay. That's the Nickel Samurai. Ticket, regular transceiver, camera. Magazine clipping, hotel guide map. Guitar case. Wine glass. Crime photo. Doesn't seem helpful. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up. I have no idea where I'm going here. Oh, I'm just supposed to present the guitar case. I was kind of thinking that, but I was like, that seems like it wouldn't. It doesn't seem useful, but no, it is the guitar case. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. What the fuck? Because the only thing. I didn't. I completely forgot about that part. The only fingerprints on it are those of the victim. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I had forgotten that. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? Wasn't she wearing the samurai outfit? Didn't we figure that out from that photo? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. Well, it's gonna be strange, isn't it? You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? Lotta's photo, because didn't we prove that it's her in the photo? Oh. Oh, okay. I think it's time for you to go home now, right? Before you hurt yourself, that is. Hurt myself? It's alright, Mr. Wright. You don't have to push yourself so hard. I guess I was trying a little too hard there. Now, if the defense has no further objections, let's return to the testimony. Wait, what? What did I get wrong? Oh. Oh. Oh, I was supposed to present the wine glass. God. Oh, because our fingerprints are on the wine glass. Right. We'll do that again. Why are we not talking about the fact, though, that she was apparently wearing the costume? I was gonna get penalised for it. Right, yeah, the wine glass, because it had fingerprints on it. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Ah. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Ooh. Her glass is smashed and she just pulled out another pair. Order, order, order. Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that the guitar case plays a very important role here, but it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case... Your Honour, This is obviously the defence's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided... No, Your Honour. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you were so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar... So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? Oh, I'm gonna go out on a limb. No, I'm not, because I don't have it. I was gonna say, what if the guitar case had the suicide note hidden in it? But I don't have the suicide note to present, but I could present the suicide report. I'm only going to lose a tiny bit of health, so I might as well go for it. Nope. And why would something like that be inside? Why would something like that be inside a guitar case, let alone this one? Why, Mr. Wright? Why? Well, I just thought it might have been possible. I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that in the void where your brain is supposed to be? Yes, and never bring it out again. Okay. Okay, that's not right then. Can't a foolishly foolish fool get some love? Do you still think you can prove your theory? Can you prove that the guitar case was not empty at the time of the murder? I wouldn't say something I didn't pretend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Okay. I don't know. Let me have a look. Oh. According to the walkthrough, it had the nickel samurai costume in the case? What? It says present Lotta's photo. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what's in that picture, Your Honour. In this picture? It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Why would his costume be in the guitar case? Mr. Wright, explain yourself, yeah. Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane... Well, at least we're getting into why she was wearing a costume, because I was wondering if we'd all suddenly forgotten that detail. What insane point would there be to do something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? Order! Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Ongart's. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I don't have a fucking clue. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? Stolen? I think it may have been stolen from Mr. Ongard. Stolen? But why would someone do such a thing? Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with the post-ceremony stage show. And so, if he didn't have his costume, then Mr. Ongard would be forced to go naked. Maybe you should be stripped naked and run out for making a mockery of this court. Excuse me? Mr. Matt Ongard did not take his costume off after the award ceremony. He even testified that he took a nap while still wearing his costume. Is this not correct? Ah, yeah, he did say something like that, didn't he? That's what I thought. Damn it. Let's try that one more time, shall we, Mr. Wright? Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was the Nickel Samurai? Well, I guess it was spare. Mr. Ongard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewaters Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had planned to bring this spare to the ceremony. I have no idea what's going on. But why, exactly? The victim, Mr. Corrida, was the Jammin' Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? Ah, so that's what he intended. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of it in a monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. I do not know. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... Oh, come on, I thought it was going to give me multiple choice answers. I'm thinking present Matt Ongard's profile, but I don't know. Should I try it? I really hope that this refreshes when we go into the next day of investigation, otherwise I'm screwed. Phoenix, what are you doing? Are you crazy? I presented the evidence with gusto, just like you said. I told you to present it with gusto, yes. But I seem to recall the sentence before that was think carefully. Gulp. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? Ah, sorry. This one is pretty tough. I really think you should look carefully at the court records, and then search through your memories. The answer is there, I know you'll find it. Now then, are you ready to try again, Mr. Wright? Minus the wrong evidence this time. Alright, this is what I think. Right, hold on, let's look at our stuff. Is it this? Is it this? What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference Are they going for that the Nickel Samurai wasn't actually going to be the Nickel Samurai, it was going to be Juan Corrida, and he was going to do something dressed as the Nickel Samurai to set Matt on guard up? I think is what we're going for. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. On Guard himself, he said he didn't know about it. Said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. That's true. So they're saying that it was Juan who was going to hold a fake press conference and pretend to be Matt. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. Yeah, okay, good. We're back on track. He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt On Guard. Yeah, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession. That's public disclosure. Miss Andrews? I can see why you're pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. She knew. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up, and the person who prepared the second costume for him. That was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year, and if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? And do you know what the secret of Mr. Matt On Guard's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. Ah, I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. But protect Mr. On Guard? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could please tell us the truth about your behaviour. Yes, Your Honour. I understand. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. Okay, so now she's saying that Matt did do it. This does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit. If there are no objections, I feel like I can pass verdict based on this testimony. Now then, Mr. Wright, if you please. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Okay. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Ugh. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. Why? Oh. Well then, I was gonna say, maybe he needed to kill him to stop him revealing his secret at the press conference, but then Matt said he didn't know about the press conference. That's the whole justification we're using for why it must have been Juan. So if Matt didn't know there even was a press conference, then he wouldn't have known that Juan was going to confess anything. Now I'm just confused. So did you say this news came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event in the hotel for the conference? Because that was when you could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt Ongard. And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Ongard himself didn't know anything about a press conference. Oh really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony if you please. Grasping at straws now, aren't we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Ongard done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Corrida with his press conference, and that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Ongard, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. Ongard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. But didn't you already testify earlier that Matt Ongard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Ongard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however. I suppose she went in to get him, and then she went through to get Juan, and Juan was already dead, so by that logic, like, if Ma had went in, he could have went in, killed Juan, went back to his room, and laid down and pretended to sleep, and then she comes in, she sees him sleeping, and she just leaves again. That is plausible. The judge is glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and the murderer fought, and during the fight, the killer ripped off the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the fleets of Matt's Akama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Ugh. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. God, this is getting longer and longer. That button was turned off Juan during his fight with Matt. Longest testimony ever. And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads and the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard. I've heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such fine detail? Don't look at me like that. Just because I'm prepared and you're not. Ugh, and I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what? But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. Sorry, I thought I heard a bug. What you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Matt Ongard at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Corrida planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Ongard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. And please, stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Really? Because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more. You should know this by now, but you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk. Got it, Chief. I'm gonna pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. Okay, so from the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. I know what his motive is, but I don't have any way to prove him right. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing. The button was turned off during his fight with Matt, but I'm Matt's manager, so I felt like I had to protect him. Okay, right, so the extra phrases aren't in there anymore, which is interesting. I don't know if it should present the button. No, I shouldn't have. Oh, that's a decent thing, babe. What do you call it? Penalty. I don't think that won me any points for the judge. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't know and I'm losing points here. Oh. Oh wait, no. Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, it says present the autopsy report. This one? No, that's the suicide report. That's the suicide report. Is this it? Juan's autopsy report. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. No one's mentioned the strangulation yet. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means it's impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There's no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body, which would suggest somebody trying to frame Matt, taking it off deliberately to put it in as a camera. What was the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? Have a memento, pin the criminal on guard drawings. Obviously it's pin the criminal on guard. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. On Guard. There's no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. On Guard was set up. By the real killer, of course. And the real murderer is... Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then? Finally. Can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet, not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. On Guard as... Well, it must be Adrian, right? Let me just double check, but I'm sure... Yes, it's Adrian. Just because I'm running low, but obviously it must be Adrian. But like I said, we've still got like, we're only halfway through this, so this can't be, we can't be at the conclusion because we've still got another 2 days of this shit, like another 2 investigations, another 2 trials. So this can't be the conclusion. Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you! You're Mr. Corrida's killer! Pika pika! Order. Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous! You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he'd already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Ongard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Tisk. But then, what about the button that was found in Matt's hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he'd already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Ongard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own hakama. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Ongard's hakama is the person who went and wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That's also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. For Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case, and it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found that she'd touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a till or something to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there's this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on earth can believe that this nickel samurai is Mr. Ongard. He'd be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something, if it can incriminate me. Well, yes, you are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination, by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Ongard's room. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? Alright. That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews not to testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What's so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realise this as well, Your Honour. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you've proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You're yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbour a wish to murder Mr. Corrida. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I'd be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taken that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation. I think we've reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defence's theory that she's the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? I request that both the prosecution and the defence look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial. Tomorrow? We're not allowed to go tomorrow. We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Oh shit. Please wait, Your Honour. That's not necessary. The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya... But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that's very true, but actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they're shaken up, not just stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual? But I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honour, I would like to request that the witness testify again, as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. Alright then. Sorry. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. When I found the body, that glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he just fainted or something, so I went to pour in some juice. When I realised that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. Why did I say vase? Why would she lie about that? Literally, why would she lie about any of that? So you pour the glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? Exactly. I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Sorry. Oh my goodness, I'm so tired. Okay, that glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then who did you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's pretty much what he said. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. So, it was a mess? Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida? I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Grr. And then what did you see next, witness? The one. He was sitting slumped over and tired, looking in the corner. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there, with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd? When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Then what did cross your mind? I thought maybe he'd smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix, and then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought. I see. So you didn't think he was dead at all? To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first, but then the room was in such a messy state. I thought maybe he'd gotten into a fight with someone. And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice? Yes, he always had a hard time waking up, so Juan always has a glass of tomato juice to drink. I see. And after that, what happened next? When I realised that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. And how did you come to realise that he was in fact dead? I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down in the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked, and staggered backwards. And knocked the flower vase over, so that's what happened. Yes. This is what it all comes down to. Huh? This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now is our best chance to kill the prosecution's case. Isn't that a bit harsh? Where's Andrews? Will you tell us the truth this time? Okay. Message state. I'm sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, I thought he was dead and crossed my mind. To be honest, I thought he just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. Once he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. I don't know. Present a crime photo. What? Did I present the crime photo? Did I present it on the wrong one? Oh, come on. It says present the crime photo. Oh wait, the crime photo. I presented Lotta's photo, didn't I? For fuck's sake. That's not helpful. Is it? No. I'm an idiot. Crime photo. There we go. Jesus Christ. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body. Oh yeah, he had a big knife sticking out of him. You'd think that would be a dead giveaway. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Corrida's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that he was... immediately thought he was a dead man. Well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake us for someone that fainted, and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. Ugh. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you're the real killer. It's not looking good for her, admittedly. I really didn't think it was her. It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt on guard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing it was so that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because, Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. Girl! And there's no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Onguard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt Onguard. Your Honour, the prosecution feels it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. But what? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. The absolute real truth? What are you? Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Onguard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francisca von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Onguard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now and is clinging on to them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. So Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get her not guilty. That's my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you, please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please, someone help me. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour? The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right, I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix, Wright? Oh jeez, when asked about your intentions, you can force Andrews to testify or request the not guilty verdict. It doesn't matter what you choose. Well, I'm going to say that we use him to testify. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you're really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure, Mr. Ongar would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defence's theory is the truth. You're wrong. Such a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However, what is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop. Mr. Edgeworth. This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop. Please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her codependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please stop. I beg you. If people find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please, help me. Alright then. Jesus Christ, that was dark. Nothing matters anymore. My crime. I'm so sorry. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realised he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I heard a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. Stab the body? With the knife? But why would you do that? Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man. But what do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt, that scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intention of framing Matt Ongard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please go over your shock and commence the cross-examination. Okay. My crime. When I first saw him, I really thought he fainted, honest. But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. But the scarf is part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up, and went to pour the juice. When I realised he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point, the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought, I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on that. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure that there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. That was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I sat down, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But, at the same time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then, when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realised something. If I used the button, somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Ongar's Hakama? Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spice it was Lotta. There was also one with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. That's Miss Oldbag for you. I'd already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the awards ceremony. You did all this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference there. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. And what is this secret? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. Well, that's a bit late now. I think we've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Ongar's room and planted the button. Into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. And then I snuck it out the hotel and got rid of it. My word, what does all this mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Ongar. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francisca, huh? She said that I should under no circumstances confess to what I had done. If I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. So who's the real killer then? What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she's not the real killer. Wait, Your Honour, the defence still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it's not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. This has been a useful trial, then. Cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. I'm so sleepy. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews Please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honour. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That's all. Court is adjourned for today. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Today's trial. It's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there, right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not. But it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why... Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry. Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you've stupidly yet inadvertently done? This! I can't believe you hid it from me all this time. I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen such an emotional Edgeworth in my entire life. That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? Ooh, oh, you can't just leave me on a bloody cliffhanger. No. Oh man, it's getting good. It's getting really good now. Just save it again. Yeah, this case is really ramping up now. So she's got the same card as Maya found in the wine cellar. And they don't know what it, well, Phineas doesn't know what it is, Adrian doesn't know what it is, but Edgeworth seems to know what it is. And that sort of suggests that the murder of Juan is connected to De Killer, who is the person who's got Maya hostage, which we kind of assumed anyway, because De Killer is the one who's wanting Matt to be found not guilty. But we don't really know what De Killer has to do with it, why he's involved, why he's got Maya involved. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. That was I do feel like we wasted a lot of time there because Adrian just kept lying and wasn't being helpful in the slightest. But I did enjoy that trial. I think we've got some interesting information there, and I'm really excited for the next part. But right now I'm too tired to record anymore, so I will head off and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.